Awesome. All right. Well, let's first and foremost dive into some charts. You're winning the bet so far. Bitcoin's outperforming Ethereum, it looks like, on the year. But,
There's
the
there's no
dominance,
second best, Laura.
well, Bitcoin's dominance is increasing. And this is always the first signal of the start of the new bull run. We're not in altcoin season yet, but I mean, Bitcoin is definitely doing well. You can see, even like, look at this, like, look at the weekly candle. Like, we have a green weekly candle that's pointing up, and then we have Ethereum weekly candle. It's like about to turn red.
I'll give you a controversial take.
Wow, it's up. Wait, do you want to say it right now?
I mean, it's we can talk about it because I think you'll have some feedback on this.
Okay, let's hear it.
I think in this next bull run, 95% of all coins will die in this next bull run.
Okay.
So I think 95% of altcoins that exist right now will be dead by the end of this next bull run. And
Okay.
I have a thesis to that. I'm not just saying that. I have a thesis for that.
Let's hear
I
it.
think that we will start to really see a flight to safe assets. And I think Bitcoin represents the safest of safe assets. We've hammered that home. And I think that because we've said this, I mean, I think you might even agree if you really think about it. Like, I don't
Mhm.
think this is as controversial of a take as it might seem, because I think a lot of money is going to flow to Bitcoin. And I think the initial money that will flow to Bitcoin will come from the already cryptocurrency asset class.
Mhm.
Because here's the thing, when the ETF gets approved, it will still be months before actual dollars come in from those ETFs. When you see the initial bumps, it's going to be people taking their money out of shit coins and putting it into Bitcoin. And it's going to bleed out a lot of, and maybe not at that point will be 95%, but you're going to see half those coins die because the liquidity is going to go to zero, because they're going to take all the money out of there and they're going to put it into Bitcoin. And that initial rush you're going to see is basically, you're going to see, because if you noticed, like, Bitcoin has been rising, but the overall market cap of crypto has really not moved. And what that tells us is money from these other lower altcoins is flowing into Bitcoin. And I think it's happening slowly now, but I think that's going to rapidly increase. And at some point, you're just going to see liquidity die out in some of these coins.
I
And
agree.
by the end of the cycle, you'll just see a die out of a lot of these coins.
I could see that. A lot of
And
them are shit coins.
the geopolitical, like what's going to happen with the Ukraine war and what's going on in Israel and the Middle East, like a lot of those things, like my 401k, bro, is getting smoked. Like, it's getting whacked. Those traditional assets are just getting devoured because people are trying to find safer plays, and the stock market is traditionally not really that. I mean, it was in the free money era, but now that we don't have free money like we used to have, like, people are searching for assets. Gold's been moving. Like, I don't know if you've been noticing, but the gold price has been moving. So people are going to those assets like gold and Bitcoin, and those have been either moving slowly up
Ooh.
or staying the same, where everything else is just getting hammered.
Yeah, gold does look good.
Yeah, of course it does. And so does the Bitcoin chart.
I know Robert Kiyosaki, the rich dad poor dad guy, said there's only three assets you should be buying right now, and that's what the smart money are buying is Bitcoin, gold, and silver. Yeah, gold's about to make all-time highs.
Yeah.
It looks
So,
really good.
so I mean,
I might buy some long calls on GLD
I think,
ETF.
oh, you're gonna go buy some fake gold, some paper gold. Nice.
Options. Yeah,
I, I
that's
think I think we are in unprecedented waters. I've had some conversations with people my age and older, right? Because my era, I'm 40, I'm going to be 46 in April. My era is at the tail end of like the drills underneath the desk during the Cold War. Like when I was in kindergarten, it was like 1983. They had just basically like we had just stopped doing that. Like my dad's era and like that in between era, like they were having like drills at school, like they have drills now where they have active shooter drills. Like during the Cold War with Russia, they had drills where they would go underneath the desk in case a nuclear bomb was coming. Like that was gonna fucking do anything. Like if the bomb went off, you were done. Like, but like they didn't know no better. So I've had conversations with people. The point of this is I've had conversations with people that feel like in their lifetime, this is the closest that we've been to an actual third world war. Like even throughout the whole Cold War era of that, that time from, the Kennedy presidency up and through, Reagan, when they finally took the wall down and they took out the USSR, that right now feels like more of a probability, however high that may be, that we actually enter a third world war. And that, dude, that's scary, man. And when you're out here trying to invest, like you got to also try to invest around those probabilities.
Yeah. Yeah. So that probably makes sense why people are putting their assets in gold and silver and Bitcoin.
Bitcoin. Yeah.
Bitcoin is volatile, and I talked to some people, and they're like, I don't want to invest in Bitcoin. It's risky, right? And they're comparing volatility with risk, right? And those are completely different things. And I try to tell them volatility isn't the same as risk. And I try to say that Bitcoin is such a small market cap that it's a lot more volatile. But then once the market gets bigger, it's going to suppress the prices. You agree with that? Like price volatility is different than risk.
I think we've passed the risk phase of Bitcoin. And I talked about that already. I think the risk part was holding Bitcoin at $200 or holding Bitcoin at $1,000. That was your risk, because the odds of it going to zero way back then was way higher than it is now. It's an established asset class, so much so that you have the person in charge of the largest hedge fund in the entire world talking about it being a flight to safety. Like those are powerful words. And for those of you that aren't like keeping score at home, he has a active application with the SEC, so he cannot say Bitcoin. He's very smart. He's been in the game a long time. Some of these other people that have these ETFs with the SEC, like they shouldn't really be talking about it. So when he says crypto, he's hands off when he talks about what he has with the SEC. He can talk about crypto and generalizations. His ETF is for Bitcoin. So when he says crypto, he means Bitcoin. So when he says crypto is a flight to safety, he means Bitcoin is a flight to safety. That's what he's saying. So when he jumped on Fox News and CNBC on Monday and said that, he was talking about Bitcoin. So we've passed risk. Like risk is not owning Bitcoin at this point. Like we've seen so many different geopolitical things occur just in this bear market. Like think of all the things we've seen, right? And here we are sitting at flirting with $30,000 Bitcoin. Like, what are we waiting for here? Like, I don't understand what people are like. They're waiting for $60,000 Bitcoin. Like, why? Like, risk. You have to. There is no free lunch out there, man. You have to take a little bit of risk, and the risk is investing your time to understand what it is, how this system works. The risk isn't buying Bitcoin. The risk isn't owning Bitcoin. The real risk is not owning it. So volatility is essential for something to go from less than $1 13 years ago to $70,000 in a decade. You can't do that without volatility. No volatility means it's a boring old fund that gives you a 2 or 3% return every year. Yeah. What is that? Who cares? It's not fun. It's not going to make you wealthy, right? That's so some financial advisor could bleed you dry for 30 years and hit you with a fee. And then you feel like you've done something because you made a little bit of profit. No, you need volatility. And yes, Bitcoin has given us insane volatility that we've probably never seen before. But that volatility has given us an asset That is the soundest money that we've ever seen. So the risk is being long dollars. I mean, I'm genuinely curious. Like, I almost want to answer your question with another question. Like, I'm genuinely curious of what the census is of the Bitcoin non-believers, of what they're looking for or waiting for to jump back in. And then when they answer that question, I want them to take a step back from that answer and really analyze it and see what kind of sense it makes.
I think this is a subject I actually just came across. How with people Hamas, they blocked crypto accounts that were related to Hamas, right, through an exchange like Binance. So some critics argue that Bitcoin is primarily used for illegal activities, and I'm sure you've heard this due to its anonymous nature. So how do you respond to like concerns about people saying that Bitcoin and crypto are used for illegal activities? Like cash isn't like they weren't using cash to fund their operations prior to 2009, right? I just seen something on that. Do you have any thoughts?
Step into any ghetto in the United States of America and watch street corners when people are doing hand-to-hand drug deals. 99% of that is in what? What are they giving? What are those drug deals? You're getting drugs, and what are you giving them?
Cash.
Cash. So the most illicit activities, whether it be drug deals or illegal arms or whatever the case may be, is done with cash. So it's such a weak argument when somebody says that a majority of the transaction, it's like there's things that are available that you can actually see on-chain transactions. And the overwhelming majority of on-chain transactions are completely transparent, legitimate transactions. It's like the 1 or 2%, maybe 3% that are illicit. You're never going to stop illicit transactions. But to say that the overwhelming majority transactions of Bitcoin and crypto are illicit is just weak. It's lazy. It's not weak, it's lazy because you haven't done any research to say that. You've done zero research. You haven't actually looked at on-chain metrics to back that and support that thesis. You're just pulling shit out of your ass. Because if you actually looked, because again, it's all the dollar's not transparent. Like I can't tell you what amount of transactions are because they print dollars to infinity. So God knows how many there are. So for me to make an accurate percentage of that would be weak because I wouldn't know because there's so many goddamn dollars out there. But with actual cryptocurrencies, you can look on chain and you can see exactly what transactions are transpiring. So it's lazy. It's just a lazy statement. And the second point I want to make is people will say, oh, look, well, Hamas got their Bitcoin or their crypto blocked or whatever the case may be. They didn't watch our channel because they should have been self-custodying. That's a them problem. When you keep your stuff on exchanges, this is the type of stuff that can happen. When you self-custody, you don't have that problem. Not that I'm supporting Hamas, not that I'm supporting illicit activities, but again, what's the point of saying that? Are you saying that because they should be allowed to make illegal transactions? Are you saying that it's a bad thing because they can take it from them? It's like, this is the stuff that we're talking about. There is another option. That's the point. The same thing with the Canadian truckers back during the COVID stuff. Like there are other options. You can do stuff self-custody and transact self-custody wallets to self-custody wallets that aren't on exchanges. If you choose to keep all of your stuff on exchanges, it's the same way as if I choose to keep all my stuff on TD Ameritrade and they block my TD Ameritrade account. Or I bank with Bank of America and they choose to freeze my Bank of America accounts. If I hold the cash in my pocket, I have a better chance of being able to maneuver with that than I do if I hold it on that third party that can be frozen or confiscated.
My last question, then we can just dive right into the topic of the day. So there's obviously wealth inequality here in America. You know, the rich get richer. You've heard that saying. Mm-hmm. So how do you think we address the wealth inequality caused by early adopters and large investors profiting from Bitcoin and cryptocurrency? Do you think this is going to make the divide more divided? How do you think that will play a role?
Contrary to popular belief, you're never going to have a society that's successful without people that are well off and people that are less than well off. You're going to have the haves and you're going to have the have-nots. If you don't have haves and have-nots, then you have socialism. Nobody wants socialism. I don't want to work really, really hard to get paid the same as somebody that doesn't do jack shit. That's not the type of society that I want to live in. So again, week in and week out, we stress to people the importance of taking control of your finances, taking control of your learning and education in regards to how the system actually works, and then doing something about it. If you make the decision not to, and then you're on the outside looking in when this new system explodes, like, whose fault is that? Like, why are we putting blame out on anybody but the people that are in the circumstances that they're in? It's like, the system that we have now, like poverty is generational, right? After 2, 3, 4, 5 generations, like, you can't keep blaming the system. Like, you've chosen to do no research and to try to do nothing to change what you've been doing for 4 or 5 generations that obviously hasn't worked. So is it the system's fault? Or is it your fault or your family's fault for doing nothing to try to change the circumstances? You can only blame for so long. Like, you get a generation or two to like cry about like what's happened to you, but at some point you got to do something about it. And if you choose not to, who's going to cry for you? Like, these are the conversations that like are uncomfortable, but like, this is how it is, man. Like, in 2013, when I first found Bitcoin, I wish I would have bought $20,000 worth and just never did anything and held it. But like, it's just not how it is. Like, not every person that got in early is insanely rich. There's not as many people that have lots and lots of Bitcoin that you think. And you know how I know that? Because you can see that. You can see the small concentration of people that have lots of it. And God bless them. Why should we shit on them for doing that? Right?
Yeah.
And if it goes where we think it's going to go, there's still amounts that normal, regular, everyday people can scrap together to have that will be significant amounts in the future. And if you're only worried about what it's going to be worth tomorrow, then that's selfish. If you're trying to set yourself and your family up, start worrying about what the price is going to be in 20, 30 years. And start thinking about, okay, one Bitcoin today is X amount of dollars, but what's that going to be in 20 years? If 10 years ago it was $200 and today it's 28,000, what is it going to be in 10 years and then 20 years? So maybe I'm not going to change my life today, but I can change the life of my family. I can change the trajectory of my family and how they are moving forward. So it's like it's not just your moves that you're making, it's the moves that you're making for the people that are going to be depending on you or will depend on your legacy in the future. So at some point, we all got to be held accountable. Bitcoin's been around since 2009. It's gone up and it's gone down. It's been in the news. It's been on the news. At some point, it's like, dude, like, do something about it. If this shit rockets off like we think it's going to rocket off in 2025 and the ETFs all get approved and we're seeing 6-figure Bitcoin and people are trying to FOMO in and they're just like upset and then they're DMing us trying to figure out what it's like. This is the time that we're going to have the time to like walk you through. When it's rocketing off like that, man, it's every man for themselves. I mean, we'll be here providing content, but the time to be like catching up ain't going to be then. The way we're going to talk and the way we're going to be like educating is going to be different a year from now than it is today. We're not going to be speaking the same way that we're speaking now. And I don't know about you, but I'll speak for myself. I'm not going to be as patient as I can be right now because the conversations are just going to be a little bit different. Why are you bugging me about buying $100,000 Bitcoin when I was telling you about it at 15? Or I was telling you about it at 20? Or I was telling you right before it was about to change at 30,000 when all the big guys were coming in that this is the time to start buying a little bit. $10, $20, $50, whatever you can afford, get some. The riskiest thing you can do is have none. But then you want to bother me when it's 120 and what you should be doing or how you should be allocating and you have $1,000 to your name. It's not going to work.
You think the conversations will be different? We'll still be doing our dollar cost averaging strategy, but as far as, other cryptocurrencies, I'm not going to be as confident as I am right now when everything's completely undervalued. And I was saying that, I'm just going to, I'm going to be telling people to sell, to be honest, or at least like consolidate. And, we'll still be producing content. There'll be stuff happening in the news every single week. But I agree, like the conversations are definitely going to be different than now. And
Honestly, when the bull run is in full blast, this channel will shift in your direction more because you'll be the one to lean on for all the other coins. Because I'm the Bitcoin guy. Like, I'll try to make some money so I can put into more sats. But like when it comes to like what moves to make in that time frame of the cycle, you're going to be front and center on that one. So you'll be guiding our viewers, you'll be guiding people on what moves to make and how to allocate funds and what coins might die and what coins have the best chance of surviving. And the ones that survive will make lots of money at that point. Like if the thesis plays out, 95% of coins die, the ones that survive are going to 100x. They're going to 50x. Like those ones that make it, you're going to see some ridiculous returns. And that's where you're going to step in. I'm just going to be like, yo, make sure you got Bitcoin, hold it, don't sell. Like sell everything you want to sell, but like I'll be the guy that'll ride it up to 250 and right back down to 50. It goes to 50. Like I'm not selling Bitcoin. You can't have my Bitcoin.
I think right now I have my eye on Solana, and this thing's actually doing really well right now. I think this is going to hit 800 a coin, maybe 1,000 a coin. It's trading at $25. What is that? That's over a 10x. It's like I think there could be a 30, 40x on Solana. Buying
25
today.
bucks to 1,000 would be a 40x.
Yeah. 4,000%.
You made a good call on that one. I thought it was done. I thought it was
Really?
dead. Yeah, I was telling you when all that shit happened with FTX. I'm pretty sure it was Solana.
Yeah.
Didn't Solana go to a couple, like it went under 10 bucks? Remember, it was almost going to fail, right? Wasn't that the coin?
It wasn't gonna fail.
I
It was
thought
just one of FTX's biggest holdings.
yeah. So it is that coin. Like you were like you doubled down on it when I was just like,
$9. Yeah, I was buying it like
yeah. You made a really good call on that.
Yeah.
And if people were watching our channel back then, they could have made some good money on that trade.
Yeah, we can definitely go back to the channel and see us talking about it. I'm still buying it. I'm still holding it, staking it. I got 132 coins. So even if that goes back to its all-time high, because I got $3,200 in it right now.
Yeah.
132 times 260, it's $34,000. And if it breaks from 3K, and if it goes to 800,
if that coin survives, which it probably will, like going back to 260 is like we're talking, I'm saying 75% chance that happens.
Yeah, it's
like
a high chance.
If we're having another bull market, which we both believe we will, like these coins are going to pass all-time highs. Like it's just the good coins will get past that.
Yeah, not all of them, obviously. So they say like 95% of tokens don't reach their all-time high from the previous cycle, but I think this is the one in the 5% chances that it will. And it's a sick project, dude. They have their community, the builders, the developers. It's going to be the gaming blockchain. They even have like a phone. They have a Solana phone where when you open your phone, you get your it's like a ledger and a phone if they had a baby. It's pretty sick project. and if we want real world adoption and mass adoption, I think everything's going to have to be mobile, or majority of it's going to be mobile gaming. Crypto gaming, I think could see 100x. So if you can cherry pick some good coins, Sandbox, Yield Guild Games, Illuvium, there's some really good projects that
I got that Gala Games token. I got a bunch of those.
You might have to migrate it. I think they did a token. You might have to migrate that. I don't know much about Gala, but that is definitely a gaming coin. But there's other ones that I'm cherry picking, and hopefully it'll pay off.
If the metaverse pops off like it was starting to the last cycle, if that happens again, then you'll see a lot of those, like the Sandbox and the Decentraland. You'll see those
NFTs too. I know like they're dead right now, but if you can find some good NFT projects, I think you can get some really sick gains, because I don't think NFTs are going anywhere. The use case for NFTs are insane. Like it
never owned one, and I don't know. It's not my bag.
Yeah, that's fine. It's not your arena, but that's fine. We all have our strengths, and we can.
Like I said, I don't I don't knock anybody for finding a way to make some money that they can convert into Satoshi. So if that's how you're going to do it and you can figure it out and do it, just I'm not going to be the one that's going to tell you what to do or how to do it.
Yeah, so this here, let me share my screen. So you don't believe in this? And then after this, we'll just dive right into Big C. So you see you have a Soulflare wallet right here, some NFTs. This one's BR1, so BR1. I bought this. So this is a project. It's trading at 2.47 floor. And let me go to the website. You'll laugh. So this is a monkey shooter game. You can download the app. Why I like it? So it's like, look at, so it's like you run around with monkeys and you shoot people and you earn Solana for fighting people. But why I like it is because you can rent your ape. So let's say I buy an ape, I can rent it out. You kill to earn. It's a kill to earn, play to earn, kind of like what we're doing with free cash. And you earn money for killing other monkeys. But I think once the demand and the game gets bigger, people aren't going to be able to afford a monkey. So you can just take your monkey and rent it out, and people can rent your monkey and you get paid passive income for renting your monkey. It's insane, but that's just like one like thing like I'm really bullish on is gaming, and that's all built on Solana. All right. All right. That's it. And it's gonna be big for like our kids and stuff that play. You know, I know Grand Theft Auto is already in talks. They haven't even released a new Grand Theft Auto. It's been a long time, but I believe they're talking about cryptocurrency be integrating into the game. So
The natural, like, you spend all these money in these games and you get no value. Like there needs to be some, at least some accountability from these games, like sharing some of these revenues back with the players. And I think that'll just be good long term for these
yeah,
businesses. This is a good business model.
yeah. I'm gonna grab some water and then put your some thoughts together, and then we'll just dive right into what we were gonna talk about.
Okay.
Another thing to mention too, when we had that fake news of the Coin Telegraph, one of the largest crypto news outlets, tweet, which I still don't even know what the hell is going on with that, but that's insane. Um, and the price jumped 7.65% in 5 minutes. That gave me, a feeling where I felt confident in my position sizes. I'm like, I'm pretty well exposed to this. Like, I felt a little bit of FOMO and kind of like, damn, I wish I had more in, but that was like a taste of like, okay, now you can audit your position and be like, wow, I need to be exposed to this and just put more money in it, because we know all it's going to take is one headline and this thing's jumping 10-20%, so I'm actually glad that happened because it made me want to put more money in, even though I felt pretty confident with what I already owned. But it's nice to know that this thing's going to go parabolic.
Yeah. What I messaged you when it all happened? I said when I seen it, my first initial reaction was, "Oh my god, this is great!" And literally seconds after that, it was like terror. I was like, "I don't have enough sats yet. I need more.
Yeah.
I don't want it yet. It needs to
Yeah.
stop." And then I was happy when I found out it wasn't real.
Yeah. Yeah. That spread really like a virus. Everyone was talking about it. So awesome. All right. So what's the first topic of discussion?
Well, I think you just started it. I think we can talk about that, like what happened, what it means, and what the overall landscape of ETF approvals kind of looks like at this point. Um, so to recap what you just were talking about for those of our viewers that didn't or were living under a rock, if you're into Bitcoin, I don't know how you don't know at this point, but we can recap. Around 9 o'clock Eastern time on Monday, a tweet went out by Cointelegraph, which is a pretty reputable source of crypto and Bitcoin news, stating that there was news that a BlackRock ETF, iShares specifically, they specifically named the ETF, was going to be approved. And literally seconds later, the markets moved. We saw a wick. I believe we hit 30. I think we got up to 30. I'm not really sure. I didn't really look. It happened so fast that by the time I looked, it was back down into like the low 29. So it moved quick. It didn't take very long for the online sleuths to figure out that it wasn't real, that it was fake news. What I've gathered is that Cointelegraph's Twitter team, they scrape like Discords and Telegrams, and they saw something on one of those. Instead of verifying it, they just ran with it apparently, and that's why that tweet was made. But rather quickly, within 10 minutes, it was found to be fake. But what I find really, really fascinating, because we were in real time. I was at the gym and I was messaging you in real time as it was going on. And you were telling me we got to post about it. And I said, I don't want to post about it until I get 2 or 3 more verifications, right?
Yeah.
Because I seen Pop message that did it first. And I seen Wolf of Wall Street's put it up. And I'm like, these are content creators. They're not necessarily guys that are like on the inside. So I was waiting to see like some sort of correspondent on one of the other platforms to verify that, yeah, they had the same news. And I wasn't seeing that. What I was seeing was like all the content creators are like rushing to be out there and posting about it. And I'm like, I don't want to be that, because I don't want to have to go back. I don't want to put it on Facebook, put it on Twitter, and then, look like a jerk and say, oh, just kidding. And people are like, here we go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, these guys are lying, or these guys are like out here fudding. So thankfully we didn't post anything. We just waited, and then we saw that it was basically fake news. But it was valuable in the fact that we saw, in a matter of a 10-minute or less span, what we can expect to happen when it actually gets approved. And I seem to be, in the last couple of days, I don't think we're going to get one. I don't think it'll be BlackRock on its own. I think we're going to get a couple. And we'll talk about another story later, why I believe one of the ones that I really thought would be part of those is no longer going to be in that batch. And we'll talk about that in a few after we talk a little bit more about, the effects of this. But we saw money very quickly flow from altcoins into Bitcoin. Like, that was the selling that you were seeing. And you were also seeing shorts being liquidated. Like, there was a lot of, like, at this point in time, like, if you short Bitcoin, you got to be stupid. Like, I mean, I don't even know what else to say. Like, I don't understand why anybody would be shorting Bitcoin. And it's just, I mean, there's a market, so people will do it, I guess. And, it is what it is. But a lot of the shorts got liquidated, which, they had to cover their shorts and buy long, which again added to the frenzy. But we saw on some exchanges a 10% move in like 10 minutes. Like, we were averaging 1% a minute. Like, that's just like, that's insane. Like, that is absolutely insane. And that's with no money actually being in the ETF. That's just the news. So when we get the news and we get that, that spike, and then we wait a couple of months and they're actually offering the product and the money actually comes in and expands the market, like, I don't know what else to do to convince people that this is where things are going. And again, Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock. BlackRock is the largest hedge fund in the world, something around, on any given day, based on their portfolio, $10 trillion under management. To put that into perspective, that's 10 times the entire crypto market, not Bitcoin. That's 20 times the Bitcoin market. That's 10 times the entire crypto market, 10 trillion under management. He went on Fox News later in the day because they wanted to interview him to get his take on it. And he had said that he was away from his desk when all the stuff was going on around 9:00. And he found out later in the day, and they're asking him like what he thought about, the price going up. And did he think it was because of the fact that the news was put out there? And he said something that was very profound. He said, I don't think it was just as much as the news or the thought that BlackRock or an ETF in and of itself had been approved, but the fact that people are looking for a flight to quality. And he said crypto is a flight to quality. And as I stated earlier, when he says crypto, he's talking about Bitcoin because he has an open application with the SEC, which means he can't talk about that. So he can't say my Bitcoin ETF. So he says crypto, which means Bitcoin, which I thought was profound. You have one of the shot callers in finance calling Bitcoin a flight to not safety, quality. Not only is it a safe asset, but it's a quality asset. It's not something we just run to. It's something that we put our stuff in and we sleep well at night because it's quality. That was the most profound of the day for me. Even more so than what happened in the morning, because we already knew that was going to happen. Like, we know that that's what's going to happen. Like, it was cool to experience it, but dude, I've been through so many ups and downs in it. Like, it just like reminded me what it felt like. But then after the initial like surprise, it was just like, all right, I felt this many times. It is what it is. But that was a different kind of excitement because we haven't had that before. We haven't had somebody of his caliber call it quality. That was huge. That was the biggest part of this whole thing for me. That just goes and supports what I've been saying for the last year on this podcast, preaching to people. Like, who the fuck am I? I'm a nobody, right? I'm just some guy. Larry Fink, who's a shot caller in finance. Nothing bigger than that dude. He is in charge of the largest hedge fund with assets under management in the entire world. That dude called it quality. That's what I was excited about.
When's the Ethereum ETFs coming? 2024? They're coming. They're coming.
You better before that thing dies.
I don't I know. I don't think that.
It all goes to zero against Bitcoin.
We'll see. We'll see. Time, like I said, time will tell. We can't.
Time will be time will be the best judge. Yes.
Yeah.
Very true.
Okay, moving on.
The Southern District of New York today brought charges, which shouldn't really surprise anybody.
XRP?
There was one piece of it. There was one piece of it that was a little bit surprising, I guess. The Southern District of New York brought charges against Digital Currency Group, Barry Silbert, and Gemini for defrauding Gemini Earn users, who this guy is a part of. Gemini Earn users out of $1 billion. And why that is big news. It's not big news in the event that we already knew that this was going on, because DCG is in a bankruptcy proceeding trying to liquidate assets to make users whole. Gemini's a part of that process. Like, that's been going on. I'm getting emails about all that. So I knew that that was happening. But the fact that the Southern District of New York has brought charges against all of these corporations is a big deal, because who we thought was going to definitely get their ETF approved rather quickly because they just won a case against the SEC, which is Grayscale, is tied to DCG. That's the parent company of Grayscale, or Grayscale is the parent company of DCG. One or the other. I'm not quite sure which is which, but there's a tie there. So now you have an open case against that corporation. So how would the SEC look approving an ETF for a company that's under investigation or been under indictment? I'm sorry, not under investigation, under indictment with the Southern District of New York. I think that significantly hampers a Grayscale ETF, which has ramifications for people that hold GBTC, because they're holding it because they believe that at some point in time that's going to be able to be converted into an ETF. And I think that when that first batch of ETFs are approved, they're not going to be a part of it. So, I think that's a big deal.
So GBTC, can you explain a little bit more what GBTC is for the viewers? Because there is it is a trust. Some people think it's like an ETF or an already an ETF.
It's not an ETF. It's hard to explain exactly like how that thing operates. It's basically a paper contract, like, and it trades at a premium. Like, you can get that cheaper than you can get Bitcoin, I believe. I think
Yeah,
it's
20% something.
yeah, it's like it's something to that effect. And I think since this news broke, it's going in opposite directions now because the Bitcoin price has been moving up and the GBTC price has been moving down. So um it's just not good for Grayscale and in that hope for an ETF because it gives the SEC an out now because all they have to say is you're under indictment in uh, federal court in the Southern District of New York for fraud. So how would we look giving you a contract for a security? Like it's not going to happen. So
Yeah.
I don't know what that's going to mean. I would assume that you're going to see some people have to make some decisions, and you might see some liquidating of those GBTCs. So, I mean, overall, I don't think it's that big of a deal to Bitcoin or Bitcoin's price per se, but it's definitely going to have effects on people that had their heart set on being exposed to Grayscale and GBTC because they felt like they had the best opportunity of that ETF, and it was an easy conversion for them. I think that's gonna pose some issues.
Yeah.
And then also, who knows what's going to happen with the bankruptcy proceedings with Genesis and DCG and Gemini Earn program. Like again, like I said, when everything happened, I wrote all that off. Like I figured that ETH was gone, but with the proceedings and the updates, I started saying, oh, maybe there's like a 30-40% chance I get some pennies on the dollar, and I don't know what's going to happen. So,
Damn, you're
we'll see.
better off giving that to me.
I'm better off converting it to Bitcoin if they ever give anything back to
How
me.
much did you lose?
2.38 ETH.
That's going to be worth 20,000.
It's not a small number if things go where we think they could go.
Damn, I can't believe that, dude.
Yeah. Even grizzled veterans make mistakes.
So you said 2.83?
Yeah. No, 2.38.
Just a light 3,700.
Yeah.
And you were
That's
staking
like
it. Your
that's like
yield.
I was staking it, yeah. Yeah. I made the mistake of putting I should have taken it out when the rumblings of FTX were in the market. I waited until CZ tweeted, and then at that point it was too late. They were illiquid at that point because I know people. My withdrawal was on 11/11/22, and I know people that withdrew on 11/9 and they got their money. So I literally waited either a day or two too long.
Are you going to buy any FTX tokens?
Yeah, loads of it.
It's trading at $1, dude. It's down 98% from its all-time high. That could be a great buying opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. How's Sam Bankman-Fried doing? How's his life going lately?
He's in
Good.
trial right
Good
now.
stuff. Good stuff. Fighting for his life.
Damn, I still can't believe we went through, dude, so much. This bear market, the amount of shit we went through, like we deserve what's about to come. Like
It was the harshest. There was a lot of there was a lot of
pain.
stuff that happened, man. A lot of stuff. There was a lot of things to talk about though, more so than the last bear market. The last bear market was super boring.
Yeah.
Dude, there were stretches where there was just nothing to really get excited about, talk about, like really anything. So this bear market, if nothing else, has given us a lot of content.
Yeah. I just don't know how, like, when things are like breaking all-time highs, like we're just gonna be so euphoric. Like it's just gonna be a crazy feeling, man. Like I'm ready for the dopamine. I really am. Like I'm craving it. I need
Just got
it.
to remember, you got to keep things in perspective. Like, have the plan now set out so when it's happening, you got a plan to divert to, so you're not making irrational decisions. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever your profit that you want to make in for your all, like it's easy for me. Like it's never tough because I never sell. And that was the mistake I made last market because I had some altcoins. I probably left 10 or 15,000 on the table that I could have made in some altcoins that I was holding on to that they made their whatever, and I just held them. And some of those I converted to Bitcoin a little bit later on than I could have if I would have done later on. And I probably got the same amount of actual Bitcoin that I would have gotten based on the prices as they have changed, maybe a little bit less. But this time, the few altcoins that I do have, the few positions that I do have, I think I have maybe 6 or 7 right now. When
What's
those
your
things start to move, like I will not feel sorry liquidating those positions 20%, 30%, 50% at a time, just being out of those positions. And then I won't sell, I'll never sell, I'll never sell Bitcoin. I can't say never, ever, because you never know. Like there may be a time where I need a little bit of buying power. I may use it to acquire something in the future, but the majority of the Bitcoin that I have will be passed on.
I think Chainlink will do really well too this
Yeah, I
cycle.
got quite a few of that. I think I have like, I don't know if quite a few is the right word. I think I have like 70 maybe Chainlink right now, 75
Okay.
maybe,
About $500 worth.
something like that.
Sweet.
But I mean, if it
Awesome.
goes back to the all-time high, which was like 50 something bucks, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm all in for not that much. So I mean, it's easy to make profits on that.
Yeah.
Like those are layups. You know what I mean? Those are layups. I
Awesome.
can convert those right to Satoshis.
Awesome. All right. Is there anything else, talking points you wanted to add? Or you feeling good about it?
Um, yeah, I mean that's I think that's it. Those are the major things that we had to cover.
Okay. Any any last minute thoughts before you close this out? And then
Yeah, there was a video that was posted non-crypto this week that I watched, and I shared it with you, where they were talking about uh and Tyler Perry was getting involved in some way, shape, or form. The Breakfast Club, which is a hip hop morning show, was talking about this lady that owns a home in the South, 5 bedroom house that she's had in her family for quite some time. And Tyler Perry was trying to help her save her house that she owns because some big business had come in, claimed eminent domain, and was going to pay her, but was going to force her out of her house that she owns. So we've talked about how real estate, you don't really own it. Like you think you own it. And in many cases, you'll be in a position where you won't have to worry about something like that, but it is something you may have to worry about. And that's one thing when it comes to Bitcoin, when you self custody it, that you never have to worry about. Nobody can ever take your Bitcoin with your 12 seed passcode and your self custody. It just can't happen. And the real estate that you own, that you're paying, you know, fees to in taxes and have to worry about, somebody coming in and destroying your property and having to fix it all over again, i.e. Craig Waldeck, you just you just don't know. What up, Craig? Don't trust, verify.
awesome. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap this up here. Give us a follow, like, subscribe, get us in that algorithm. That's doing us a favor, other people that come across this video a favor, and we're gonna keep producing more content. Thank you.